If you haven't grabbed your copy of Pro Football Weekly's 2012 Fantasy Preview Guide, you haven't seen the best fantasy rankings in the business. Today we're going to count down the top 3 quarterbacks according to Pro Football Weekly, starting with a guy who was probably undrafted in most leagues last year.
Cam Newton surpassed even the wildest of expectations with his record-breaking rookie season. The question on the minds of fantasy players is, what will he do for an encore? With the rookie record 4,051 passing yards and 14 rushing touchdowns, the highest mark ever by a quarterback, it's easy to see why Cam is our third-ranked fantasy quarterback. What people are wondering is, can he be even better in year 2? Panthers are going to feature more balance on offense, and they're going to probably attempt to preserve Cam a little bit so that rushing total is expected to go down. Me personally, I'm not touching Newton before the top 4 quarterbacks are gone. I want to see him do it again before I'm a full believer. But for a guy who provided an endless amount of excitement as a rookie, and he has the type of game-changing talent to do it again in year 2, all we know for sure is that he isn't going to sneak up on anybody in 2012.
Fantasy football owners, don't worry too much about Drew Brees missing OTAs and minicamp. The Saints quarterback is coming off a record-breaking season, making him the number 2 ranked quarterback in PFW's fantasy football rankings for 2012. Last season, Brees was the first passer ever to throw for over 5,400 yards, throwing 13 300-yard games and 46 touchdowns, and he was a pretty reliable fantasy quarterback. How about this though? The last time Drew Brees did not throw a touchdown in a game, Week 4 of 2009. On the negative side though, Brees does turn the ball over a little more than Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers do. When you look at what Drew Brees has in New Orleans, all the weapons at wide receiver, Jimmy Graham at tight end, and Darren Sproles, and what he's been able to do for so long, there are few quarterbacks in the NFL that you can be as confident with drafting in your fantasy football drafts than Drew Brees.
There isn't a lot not to like about Aaron Rodgers, who's a candidate to be the first player drafted in a lot of fantasy leagues. The changing league, a lot more passers and wide receivers will go ahead of running backs. 45 touchdowns, only 6 turnovers. Rodgers might not be one of those 5,000-yard quarterbacks from last year. There were 3 of them, but no quarterback was more dangerous, more consistent at attacking opponents and beating opponents. And in 2012, there's little reason to think, especially with some big questions in the NFC North secondaries, that he won't be the same type of guy again. That's why he's PFW's number 1 rated quarterback in fantasy heading into 2012.
Now, if you're wondering where those other 5,000-yard passers are, I'll give you a hint. They're not too far down the list. Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford are right behind these top 3, but to see the entire list of top quarterbacks in fantasy football this year, grab a copy of our Fantasy Preview magazine at pfwstore.com. You can see all of our fantasy rankings at profootballweekly.com.